Hello everyone, welcome to the show. We are going to be doing a race review of the 2025 Las Vegas Grand Prix. Let's get started. So Jason's going to run us through the notes that he has on FP1, 2, 3 and then the qualifying. Then we'll just jump straight into the race and we will go down in order of the team and discuss the race and the outcome.
Yeah, so FP1, FP2, FP3, nothing much really happened. Like, the teams were sort of complaining during the race as well that they couldn't really gather that much data this weekend, so it was kind of hard to figure out what strategies they were going to go for. Charles Leclerc looked strong, so he did in FP1, Albon second, and then Yuki Tsunoda, that followed Max Verstappen, then Carlos Sainz. That's the top five for FP1. Lando Norris was sixth with Oscar down in eighth, and everybody was running the soft tyres, so McLaren didn't seem too convincing in FP1 this weekend. Rolling round to FP2, Lando Norris done 13 laps on the soft tyres and put in a better time of 1 minute 33.602. Antonelli put in strong times as well. Charles Leclerc running the mediums, he was third quickest, followed by Nico Hülkenberg and then Hajar. That's the top five. Oscar Piastri down in 14th on the medium as well. So FP3, George Russell setting the fastest time on the soft tyres at 1:34. So he was actually a second slower than Norris in FP3 on the soft tyre. Max Verstappen second, and then Albon third, Hajar, and then Hamilton to finish off the FP3 results. So that was about it. But yeah, let's get into the interesting stuff.
Anything to say on the quali apart from the fact that it was absolutely soaking wet?
Yeah, the session started off kind of wet, didn't it?
I did miss it, to be fair, so I only was able to catch up on the highlights.
That's right, you didn't get to see the qualifying. Yeah, no, it was a bit wet. I think it sort of stopped raining by the time the cars had got on track, so it was sort of that waiting for the track to dry situation, so it was constantly developing out there. And you seen Lando Norris was like one of the last cars to put in a lap in Q3, and it was very quick. Like
it was some lap. To be fair, I did see the onboard and I did manage to watch the highlights at least, but I never caught the session. It was almost Verstappen-esque. Mm-hmm. He almost he almost pulled a second on everybody else around him.
I think it was.
He sort of sliding come to the last chicane, I think, from memory.
Q3, his final time, it was a 1:47.9. Max Verstappen was only 3/10 off him, so he was. Yeah, Russell was 8/10 off him.
I think he did have a kind of a sloppy sector 3 though, did he not?
Yeah, it wasn't great. So it was just seeing him sliding around the corners everywhere, like, and everyone had sort of moved on to the enters by that time, because I think Stroll Q2,
he got kind of.
Yeah, he pushed onto the inters too early and it didn't work for him, and I think he got knocked out.
From what I was hearing, he was actually looking not too bad in quali.
Yeah,
up until that point.
That's what sort of surprised me, because the Aston Martins, they were looking pretty well. Like Fernando Alonso third Q1, Stroll fourth Q1, then Q2. We've got Alonso eighth, and then Stroll got knocked out. I think it was just about the track drying up and stuff, you know. Cars start to come into play a little bit, and you sort of see that true pace. But a couple of things to note: Kimi got knocked out in Q1, 17th.
That's right. Yeah.
And whenever we come to the race, we're going to talk about that. So that's interesting. Behrman actually hit the wall and saved it, so he did in Q1. Have that down in my notes. And
Hamilton. Probably the biggest shock. I think I seen a thing on Instagram. Apparently, is he the first Ferrari driver since like 2009 to qualify dead last or something?
To get knocked out on
or something. It's some crazy
like
stat that hasn't happened in forever. It's just like Lewis is just catching these L's all season.
All season, it's just, every time we go somewhere new, it just doesn't seem to be his weekend. Like,
so that is a shame from Lewis's point of view and from our point of view as Ferrari fans. But getting into the race where the interesting stuff started, our top five at the end of the race was Max Verstappen, George Russell, Kimi Antonelli, Charles Leclerc, and Carlos Sainz in the Williams. Mm-hmm. Now, obviously, the reason we have a double Mercedes podium is McLaren with the double DNF. The double DNF due to plank wear. So taking a leaf out of Ferrari's book with that one there. Wasn't expecting anything like that from McLaren.
Absolutely not. We were sort of getting to the point where we thought this season had wrapped itself up and Norris was just going to run away with it. But it's F1 and anything can happen, and it really just shows you that, like...
I was going around telling everybody that, oh, he's going to wrap up in Qatar, just what you see. He could have actually wrapped up, I think, in Vegas.
Yeah, but the margins were very slim. Yeah, like Verstappen had to have a stinker and Piastri had to have a stinker as well. Like,
and the people that did have stinkers were Lando and Piastri. And speaking of Lando, first lap, first corner,
first bottle in a while.
That is true. It was a slight return to form, at least from what we saw at the start of the season. Overly aggressive.
I think overly aggressive.
I think so. I think because he nearly ran him into the wall. He was incredibly close to Max. I don't think Max was even alongside him.
It wasn't almost like overly aggressive to the point where he was scared. No, because he has a really good buffer between Max and Oscar Piastri was out of the picture. He was down in fifth. Like, do you know what I mean?
A second place would have been okay. So it's almost just over aggression, I think, and maybe over confidence a step. And is it maybe the kind of put the foot down, show the world championship mentality? I don't know what he was thinking, because he didn't have to do it, because even if Max Verstappen was able to get in alongside him, he should have been able to run it around the outside in first corner and then at least hold the inside line for the second corner. Like,
and if he has such a world champion mentality, he should have remembered that Las Vegas is very slippy.
That is true.
Like, he absolutely bombed it down that. He pushed himself really, really left and then braked super late.
Because he did sort of swing out back onto the racing line, and
so
then he sort of threw himself out.
Yeah, he threw himself off kilter a little bit and didn't set himself up well for the corner. And Max got him straight on the jump, and then George Russell got him down the straight, and it was just one of those classic Norris moments where didn't need to happen, but inevitably it does happen.
He had it in the bag. I think even if he'd have just let it play out, I think he would have been able to stick onto the back of Verstappen, no bother. He had the pace. Like, the car's fast, but then again, why was the car fast? Was it the plank wear?
Was it the plank wear?
We just don't know.
We really don't know, because Max Verstappen and Red Bull have been extremely quick at the end of the season here. Yeah. And I think McLaren have almost regretted stopping developing their car.
I don't know if they regret it, because in theory, the car's still fast enough to do it. It like, you look at the performance of the car, it is 100% good enough. Like, I don't think the regret in stopping development. The car was so much faster than everything else that logically it probably did make sense. But then again, you can never really rule out Red Bull. They are a team that know the car so well, and they will bring an upgrade package, and it usually works.
That's very true. That is very true. Red Bull are good at developing their car, and especially now that Christian Horner's out of the picture, like, it's just been a real great change in leadership, and they've turned the end of the season around, which I really did not expect. No, and it does seem that cooler heads have prevailed at Red Bull over these last sort of like 3 odd months. Mm-hmm. But moving on to Oscar Piastri, at least with keeping with the McLaren theme, not terribly convincing again this weekend. No, like I was saying before we started recording, this disqualification for both cars was almost best result for him. Which is a weird thing to say for a double DSG. A double DNF. I know it brings Max into contention, so it does, and we'll talk about Red Bull in a bit, but like, now he's on equal points with Oscar, and I never would have thought that. Equal points with Oscar going in 2 rounds. There's like 57 points on the table. Is it 58 points for first? Yeah, 25, and 8 points. Yeah, that's right. So you got 58 points on the table. All you need is a DNF or a scrappy race or something. Like, it could be anything. Max just needs to stay up there. And if McLaren keep doing things like this, now that's just, obviously the ball is in McLaren's court now, because what they done was stupid. It was clearly a massive operational error. But I almost think Oscar's out of the picture. It's almost like a straight fight between Lando because and Max his I don't think he's not finishing first, second, or third in these latter races, and I can't see it. No, he's not, and he hasn't been keeping up with Norris. Max has been catching up with him, and we've got to the tipping point now where Max is going to overtake him in Qatar, because
He
I
is.
don't see
I
his
don't see him.
performing doing a 180 at this point. It's too late in the season. I feel like his confidence has dropped too much as well at this point.
He's in too much of a rut. I think he might be way too in over his head. Not in over his head, but he's like too in his head. He just hasn't been able to allow that like cool mentality that he had at the start of the season.
Not since Zandvoort.
No, absolutely not. And like again, this race weekend was just another one. Again with qualifying, he had to qualify up there at least top 3. He was nowhere near it. He had to finish at least top 3 on the podium, nowhere near it. And then in the end, they get disqualified, and then Max has just ran away with it. And it's going to affect, I think, the momentum and the team morale in general heading into Qatar. It's a hard thing to come back from, because that means you're going to be going into Qatar. Are you going to be overly cautious with car setup? Obviously, it's an incredibly downforce dependent track. You probably do need to run the car quite low.
Exactly. Your risk management is going to be at an all-time high.
I don't know what they're going to do.
And that's what I'm saying. They almost might. That's what I was almost trying to get at with them saying they haven't developed the car enough at this latter end of the season, because they haven't given themselves enough of a buffer.
Yeah.
They're pushing for performance. They're lowering that car. They lowered it too much this weekend, and they've absolutely shot themselves in the foot. And now they're almost trying to do these things to pull the performance out of the car to keep up. So I do agree with you in a sense where that gap they had at the start of the season was incredible. But now with the amount of mistakes that their drivers are making, which they couldn't have foreseen, and I don't think Oscar and Lando could have foreseen, you know what I mean, as well. But it's got to that stage now where they've both lost so many points with making mistakes, taking DNFs, crashing into each other or crashing into the wall. And now Max has caught up. And they just don't have the car anymore to build that buffer. And it's got to the point where it's like,
what are we doing?
What are we doing here?
It is almost like they're setting up the car, as you say, to compensate for the lack of development that they've had.
Yeah,
it's kind of like, how can we take the performance of the car to the absolute nth degree without spending money?
Exactly.
And they've done exactly what Ferrari have done. And Ferrari were trying to do the same thing in China, and it backfired. As we said, the sprint race at Ferrari was probably illegal.
Yeah, I just don't think the car was running long enough to wear it out.
So it's a similar sort of thing. So I don't know what they're going to do. It'll be interesting to see what Qatar's like.
It will,
because it was an absolute stinker from McLaren this weekend in nearly every way, apart from Norris's pole lap.
And again, I think they've seen these problems coming. You know what I mean?
You
like
think?
6 races ago, the car wasn't convincing. Do you know what I mean? Max was starting to win races.
He was, to be fair. But then again, Lando was still up there.
That is very true. I think after the Monza and Zandvoort sort of time, that's whenever the mistakes start to really come out on either side. You know, especially the big points mistakes. Like we had DNFs for Lando Norris, his engine blowing up. We've got 2 double disqualifications here. It's like,
yeah, like as I say, just overall this weekend they had everything going for them for like a dominant weekend. You know, they had everything for a pole, they had everything for a win. They probably even had everything for like a double podium. But I just don't know. The plank was bad. They failed the technical. The pace was strong up to that point, but just that technical breach just wiped out any and all hope for any salvageable silver lining from this race weekend, as I say, other than probably Norris's pole.
Yeah, like if he didn't bottle that start, I think he would have had a good opportunity out in front. That Las Vegas dirty air can be quite nasty, like those long straights and DRS zones. Like, do you know what I mean? It just creates that effect, and
you're running that skinny wing anyway. So it's almost like Monza. Like, you know, you're running the skinny wing, you've got the DRS, you're not getting that.
The tyre advantage needs to be immense for you.
You need to have a crazy just pace advantage, which nobody really did, unless you're fighting like the midfielders, but even then it looked like a struggle.
I know, and everyone was just bailing onto the hard tyres. Yeah. So there was, like, you know what I mean? And we'll talk about Kimi's stint whenever we get the Mercedes.
Speaking of Mercedes,
yes, we
can talk to Mercedes now. I think we've rambled about McLaren.
Yes, we'll give McLaren a break.
Yeah,
so we will.
We'll punch them next week. Some more. But yeah, Mercedes doing well this weekend. I think they were kind of slated to have a good race weekend.
I think they were.
They were downplaying it, but everything in the media was pointing towards Mercedes having another good race weekend. They were like, "Oh, we don't want to build up to, are we going to do a repeat of what we done last year?" They nearly did, but I think they were always going to have a decent race. That car likes the colder temperatures.
They're really building themselves up towards the end of this season. And like you said, colder temps. We're going into Las Vegas, night race. We're going into Qatar.
We've already had Las Vegas.
Oh, sorry. I meant to say we had Las Vegas, night race.
Yep.
We're going into Qatar, night race.
In a desert.
In a desert, night race. Do you know what I mean? Those colder temps going to work well. Abu Dhabi, exact same.
The Abu Dhabi one will be interesting, I think, with Mercedes, because obviously we start in the evening, finish at night. You could see a pretty nice.
We could almost get another one of those battles where it's like 15 laps left, and then everybody like decides to bail into the pits, get new tires on, and then there's like half a second between everybody.
Yeah.
But no, I'm really thinking Mercedes is going to have a strong end to this season, like.
Yeah.
Especially Antonelli. Antonelli is really in his zone, especially for that terrible qualifying result. That comeback in the race was super strong.
I think he did increase his position the most out of all drivers. Was it 14 positions he increased it over?
I think so. Let me just see where he started.
Yeah, 14 positions net gain for Kimi Antonelli in that race, which incredible. Just
Unbelievable.
incredible. He's really coming into his stride at the end of this season. He had some ropey performances at the start of the year, but he's really come to form. He was doing incredibly well all weekend, and he was consistent, no silly mistakes, just got his head down, carried on with the race, done his thing, and that on top, like the Mercedes strategy was pretty decent this weekend.
Very good. It was
getting him on
good.
those hards, running the mediums, and then back on the hards again, I think, at the end.
Yeah.
And he was solid. And again, just that Mercedes pace being really strong just allowed him to just, as you say, well, not as you say, but I say, get the head down and run the race. Like, so.
Well, that's just what they're
There's
doing.
not really much to say about Mercedes, I don't think, this weekend. You know,
There's
they
not.
just ran the race.
Yeah.
Like, very undramatic.
It's just come out, show out, and that's what they did.
They did. And again, classic George Russell, do nothing.
P2.
With the disqualification.
With the disqualification,
just incredible.
One of those moments for George again. And I just can't get over Kimi Antonelli's his start to his finish. Like, you know what I mean? That's stuff that you see Max Verstappen do.
Oh yeah, no, 100%. It was Brazil-esque.
It is very, and especially for a track like Las Vegas where you don't expect for performances like that to happen. You know,
especially from a rookie.
Especially from a rookie as well.
It's not difficult in the sense that Monaco's difficult, where it's like, you know, it's a bit the width of a ruler, that track. But it's, you know, it's the slippery surfaces, getting the heat into the tires. It's
wall to wall,
kind of like, it's still a street track at the end of the day, but it's like driving on an ice rink. So like fair play. He done really well. And again, George Russell just pulling the results out of the bag when he needs them. Just seemingly George. How he does it, I'll never know.
I will never know. It's a mystery. But yeah, as long as I can carry this momentum into 2026 and they have a good car, good platform, I think they're going to be really strong contenders next year. I'm very convinced now.
It's looking good.
It's looking good for them as well. It really is.
The drivers are in a good spot. Kimi seems happy. George seems happy. The team seem content.
The multi-year deals have been signed, haven't they?
I think they have. I think they're all
you
know
good. What I mean? Nothing could go wrong for now. I think Max Verstappen talk is out of the picture. I think Toto Wolff has settled down and he's. I
think he's maybe, you know, he's had his fun trying to poke the media with that one, and he's kind of. I think it was always going to be just realizing that what you have is good, because like what they do have is good. George Russell isn't a bad driver. No. So like I think you would be mad giving him away because for one, where would he go? And two, why would you just give him away? Because he's been doing so well. He's insanely consistent. He is insanely consistent.
I know he knows that team. You know what I mean? So
like I'd just keep him. I'd keep him for as long as I could keep him, to be honest. Yeah. But as I say, not a lot from Mercedes this weekend. Just solid all round.
Solid performance.
Quiet, uneventful, and just brought the results. Thanks to McLaren as well, obviously. Suppose we can then move on to our next team, which is Red Bull, who had a bit of a mixed bag in, you know, pretty opposite ends of the spectrum. Yuki Tsunoda, not terribly great.
Just looking where Yuki finished, 12th. Just had to remind myself of that. It's one of those things. It's, I don't know. Do we have to wait until 26 to see what this car seat curse is all about? You know what I mean?
I don't know. I think we've seen it all. Because we've seen it over multiple car generations as well. Because we've seen it in the ground effect era with obviously Yuki, and we've seen it. Checo drove a ground effect car for Red Bull, didn't he?
Yes.
So we've seen it with him in the ground effect era. We saw it with Gasly, was it? Gasly and Albon
Gasly and Albon.
in the high downforce.
Yeah, that was the
spec
hybrid
cars.
turbo error, wasn't it?
So
Yeah.
like all aerodynamic generations, high downforce, ground effect, like it doesn't matter. Like I think the curse is there.
It's there.
I don't know if, but then again, I don't know. It always goes back to that talking point. Is it genuinely like a curse of like the second Red Bull seat? Is it really this car is developed around a racing driver? I'm always a bit skeptical of that. I think that's a bit BS. I think it'd be incredibly difficult for a team to solely develop a car around a single driver's driving style while completely negating any input from another driver.
Yeah, it's almost like in a perfect world scenario, isn't it?
Yeah. Like, I think Max is just maybe such a generational talent that, like, even if you were Norris or Russell or Charles Leclerc in the seat beside him, I think you would still maybe look a little bit amateurish.
Like, if we had, like, Leclerc in that car, P6, P7 maybe, at a push.
I reckon, yeah. He's probably going to be in the points more consistently.
Yeah.
But, like, I don't know. I think it's just Max is just on another level, at least.
Yeah.
Because everything he does, at least if it's sim or real life, different series, he gets in a car and he knows how to drive it.
That is very true. But, like, to a certain degree, like, with how centric F1 is around about having a dominant car, I feel like to a certain degree that car has to almost be built for him in a certain way. Like, I'm not saying
obviously they're going to take his input. Yeah,
do you know what I mean? And that's just affecting how these other drivers are getting into this car.
I suppose that.
And that's why I'm sort of trying to say, do we need to wait until 26 to see if, you know, this curse is a real thing? Because, you know, we've got a new leadership role now with Lauren Mackey's, so there's going to be a change in direction of development. We've got Ford coming in, making the engine for them. They're going to have a brand new platform with these regulations. Are we going to see that stark contrast again? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you. I think it's an interesting thing to think about. It would be a bit disappointing if it did continue.
Do you know what I mean? Because then you start really, Red Bull really has to start asking themselves questions.
Because it really does bring into question what's their, you know, how are they running that technical department?
And
you know,
why is this happening? Do you know what I mean? This isn't a one-man team. Do you know what I mean? And at the end of the day, yeah, you know, Max is quick, and you know, you might give him a car to maybe compete for a championship, but you can't run a team like that, because inevitably when Max leaves, what are you going to do? Is someone else going to be able to jump in that car and drive it like Max, or are you just going to have two drivers that can't drive a car?
It's kind of it always just goes back to me saying, like, is his driving flatter in the engineering? Like, is the engineering actually there? Obviously the car's not bad. It's like Yuki's done good in it, but I don't know. It is an interesting one. I'd like them to be more level going into 2026. I think there's a bigger chance of them being more level going into 2026.
Yeah.
They haven't drove the car.
No.
So it'll be interesting to see how it develops, I think, over the course of a season, over the course of a couple of seasons, just to see if that gap extends out again. Because Yuki has pace. Yuki is fast. Obviously, there's talk of maybe Hadjar going into that seat and all this carry on. But it'll be interesting to see what his teammates like next year with that fresh car. But not much to talk about with Max Verstappen. Just won it in the first corner. Like many of his
races.
His wins before, he just wasn't flustered by the cut and move from Lando. Just forgot about it. Lando obviously ran wide. Max capitalized and just ran off in the distance. Like that was it.
I was very surprised that we didn't hear a radio message from Max.
I don't think he was that fussed because he'd already got past him.
I suppose at that point he forgot about it.
He forgot about it. He was already like a second up the road.
He'd watched him go deep, and it's like, right, he's made his bet, and I can just go on here. So let's just leave it at that sort of thing. Like,
if he maybe had got back on the track and maybe forced Max off a wee bit, and he was still holding the lead, he probably would have heard something.
Yeah, if like Lando didn't go as deep and have to run as wide, and it was a bit closer.
Yeah,
and they were sort of squabbling each other. He might have something to say about that. He pushed me, sort of
like the classic.
The classic. He pushed me.
But no, I don't think he was worried. Because he was able to just go around the outside and just take it, and then obviously Russell done the exact same thing. Yeah,
their strategy looked good as well. So
it was very, very solid. Not much to say about Red Bull other than Yuki again, just unfortunate with finishing out the points, and then Max running away with it, which it's kind of all you really want. And it brings Max's title hopes. Relights them.
It really does.
It could be an interesting end of the season.
It shows he still has pace as well.
He still has the determination.
You
You
know?
can tell he still wants to win it.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like there was talk a few weeks ago, maybe a couple of weeks ago. Has Max kind of just gone, "Oh, I'm not fussed anymore." I don't think he's ever going to think like that.
No, he's not that type of guy.
No.
With the amount of racing, like you said, he does. He's not that type of guy.
He's a serial
always
winner.
He's always going to think there's going to be a chance in it. And I was watching a video earlier on, and I think one of his friends that he does iRacing with made a tweet a couple races ago saying technically it's mathematically possible for Max to still win the championship. And every time Max has closed that gap, he's like retweeted that. So he has, and it's like, I'm pretty sure he retweeted it after Las Vegas again, because the gap is just getting and it's still mathematically possible. Do you know what I mean?
It's not just only mathematically possible. It's very, very mathematically possible.
And it's not like it hasn't happened before.
Oh, absolutely not.
Kimi Räikkönen, 2007, done the
Similar
same thing. Similar sort of thing,
with McLaren squabbling yet again.
McLaren again. It's one of those things. Pressure. They're like a cooker, so they are pressure cooker.
The lid going to come off? It hasn't come off yet, but it's getting there.
But yes.
Heading on to Ferrari, I suppose. Again, a pretty meh race. Lewis done really well. Charles done really well. But I don't think it was terribly dramatic. There was some great driving from Charles, though. Again, they weren't on the feed from what I could see a lot. They just kind of got on with it.
Yeah, they just got on with it. They stayed under the radar a little bit this weekend, I think. I was sort of a little bit nervous whenever I seen Charles Leclerc's gearbox blow up in FP2. I was telling you about that before we started.
Yeah.
And that just did not fill me with confidence whatsoever. I just think there was a couple little things happening at the start of the week that sort of built up. And I was like... And especially whenever Ferrari have had good weekends the last two times around here, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You sort of have that anticipation that we're going to do well again. And especially with Ferrari, how up and down it is. You know, you hear it, you see a track coming up and, oh, Ferrari does well here. You're like, right, okay, we have to do well here, sort of thing. Like, so once I seen all those mistakes being made at the start of the week, it didn't fill me with much confidence. And especially... Well, I suppose their pace did look good in FP1, but...
No, I think they did have pace generally throughout the weekend.
Yeah, but I didn't think it was going to be as good whenever we got into the race. Do you know what I mean? Like, Hamilton made up those positions, and he held those positions, and he was able to get into the points from P19.
No, Lewis had an incredibly good race.
Very good.
And Charles, again, had a solid race. Like,
contrary to what Lewis was saying, I'm pretty sure he went into the media pen and he was talking about how he was having a stinker in Qatar this weekend, which I suppose you could argue with his qualifying result, but
I mean,
he's a world champion. He should have that mentality to bounce back from these things. And I just think
he does have that mentality. I think he just says those things. I think he's one of these people that wear their heart in their sleeve quite a lot. Like he just says what he's feeling at the moment, but it doesn't necessarily reflect what he's going to be thinking once he's actually sat down and thought about it.
That's you know what I mean? Yeah. So, but one of those guys that just has to get it out there in the open.
Because I know I've done it where I'm like, maybe there's something gone wrong in work and I'm like effing and blinded. And then you sit down, you go, actually, it's not that bad.
Yeah, it's not that bad. You've cooled down, you're like, right, okay.
Yeah, maybe I overacted a little bit.
Yeah, and it doesn't help whenever there's a microphone.
Oh, absolutely not. But like, I think Lewis is mentally resilient enough to like not really care about a lot of that stuff. Yeah. But he had an incredible race, which I like the fact that the two Ferraris done really well this weekend, at least in terms of driving. Their qualifying was pretty poor, I have to admit.
Yeah, the qualifying wasn't great, but the conditions weren't great as well. So
no, they weren't. But
classic Ferrari coupe.
Yeah. Coming to Vegas on the heels of that comment from John Elkin saying, "Oh, the drivers need to just focus on driving and talk less." Well, what did they do today? They drove and they've done a bloody good job of it.
They've done a really good job.
Lewis was starting 19th, but he climbed his way through the field on a track that is difficult to overtake on. Like it's not that easy.
No,
because he was like he gets stuck on a DRS train. I think it was like around like lap 17 or lap 15.
And people have to remember these street tracks and these surfaces, they're hard to judge. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. And Las Vegas, I think, is one of the hardest tracks to get data for. Do you know what I mean? So it's one of those races you're almost going in blind, because
especially with the heavy rain and qualifying, the track was pretty much green going into that race. There was nothing good about that surface at the start of the race.
No.
So I think Ferrari done really well, all things considered. Probably not as good as you'd want them to do. Obviously, they really should be winning races. Like, generally speaking, it was quite poor from a team like Ferrari. But Lewis done well to recover. Charles done well to recover, and the fourth could have got a podium. But
half a second off a podium. Like.
Yeah, it's good to see. It's almost like a bit of a middle finger up to John Elkann. The driving today, they were aggressive and they were pacey.
You know, and that's all we can ask for coming into the end of the season. Like, do you know what I mean?
I don't really have any expectations anymore.
Yeah,
you know
we're not expecting rainbows to come out of Charles's ass here. Like, do you know
no,
what I mean?
That's next season.
That's next season. And if it doesn't happen, we're going to have problems.
Well, just 2027 then.
Yeah, true. 2027 will be our year. We just need to develop the car.
Yeah,
okay?
we've got a good platform.
Exactly.
And if the driver stopped talking and started driving, it might be win something.
So who's next on the board?
Our own Williams. Williams with Carlos Sainz and Alex Albon. Can I just say, Alex Albon had a stinker.
Stinker?
Absolute stinker this weekend.
Absolute stinker.
Drove into the back of Lewis. Classic.
He just watched what Lewis did in Brazil and was like,
so I want a piece of that.
I can do that. I can do that as well.
I want that.
No, he did not have a convincing performance throughout the entire weekend. In qualifying, he literally binned it into the wall. Yeah. So he did. Yeah. And you know what I mean? That's never good.
He did have a pretty shocking weekend compared to Sainz. Sainz was kind of on it, you know? Like that qualifying was incredible. Was it P3? Sainz started. Was
Sainz
very, very good.
Really, really starting to find his feet.
He is. He is.
He really
Williams looks not too bad. When it's got a right, when it's in the right window, it's pretty decent.
Like we were saying, you know, it's the end of the year. All the cars are starting to close up a bit. Like, do you know what I mean? It's
the convergence is quite clear, to be fair.
Yeah, so do you know what I mean? It's really starting to give them those opportunities to score good points. Like 10 points for Williams is unbelievable. This is the most points they've scored since Bottas in 2017 or 2016.
I think it might be 2016.
I think it's 2016.
He was with Mercedes.
Yeah, so 2016. I think he scored 86 points or something that season.
And was it Sainz? He was P5 in the end, wasn't he? So like that's good.
That's really good.
That is good. For the Williams, obviously, you have to take in the caveat, the McLaren's retired, but it doesn't matter. You have to finish the race.
You have to finish the race, and he done that.
And their car did not break down. Or,
you know what I mean?
You know.
And that's what it is. That's what it's all about in F1. It's about grabbing those moments, isn't it?
It is.
That's where you get the points sometimes.
You got to be in it to win it. If you don't cross the line, there's no hope.
No. And sometimes you cross the line and then you get disqualified.
Oh dear.
But yeah.
We're not McLaren haters, I promise.
Yeah, we promise. But Albon, not great. He needs to do something towards the end of the year. He needs to have a nice one in Qatar or something, like just to soften the blow. He's
just not convincing me compared to Sainz.
Not towards the end of this season, like no.
The thing is, he is good. Like Albon's decent. Like I don't know what he's at. Maybe just have one of those. You just have those races.
Yeah.
But the whole driving in the back of Lewis, that was just a bit stupid.
I know.
I suppose we could move on to Racing Bulls. There's not much to say about Williams other than they got good points finishes. And Carlos Sainz had an absolute incredible P3 qualifying. But then again, Alex driving in the back of Lewis retiring. You know, what more do you say?
But yeah, moving on to RB. Hajar and Lawson both set up to have a really good race. Hajar done everything to make his race good. Lawson done everything to make his race as bad as possible. Like I swear he had like 3 collisions on the first lap.
Yeah, he drove in the side of Piastri on the first corner.
Yeah, and then lost a bit of his front wing.
And
there was probably something else in there.
There could be. If there wasn't, then we'll just say there is.
We'll just say there is. But yeah.
Don't let the truth get in the way of a good story.
No. But yeah, like I was saying, Hajar, phenomenal for this entire season. Finishing it off very strong. Again, loving to see it.
Very good.
Lawson can be quite reckless, I think, sometimes. Like he
is more erratic,
isn't he?
But he's still, the thing is, he's quick, but he's erratic.
Yeah,
Hajar does seem like a bit more of a consistent, safe pair of hands.
Yeah. I think Hajar's the one you would want to put your bets on more.
Yeah,
over Lawson, like. And at the end of the day, Hajar was the one that was able to get the podium opportunity. You know what I mean? They've both had one this year, and Hajar got that. So, but yeah, for RB, Hajar doing well.
Yeah,
finishing the season strong. Lawson, why do I keep saying that? Lawson needs to wise up a little bit, I think, towards the end of the season before he starts to lose confidence for next year.
Yeah, because the team's good. The team is decent. The car's pretty quick and the car's solid, and at least operationally they're pretty good. Usually they've got a solid strategy, and usually they've got a pretty solid pit crew. So like they're not they've definitely come on leaps and bounds. Like this year, they've been very, very good. I've been very, very impressed with them. Because obviously watching F1 grow up, I know them as Toro Rosso. They're usually pretty shocking. But now they're doing well. As I say, with Hadjar finishing 6th, good weekend for them.
Good result. You know what I mean? You can't complain.
And move on to Aston Martin. Constructors champions for 2026. So these guys have got a lot of work to do. They were not good, and they are 7th in the championship.
You know they're really hoping for a wish here with this Adrian Newey boy, like, aren't they?
Aye, what does he know?
Like, do you know what I mean? But honestly, like,
not a good weekend.
Not good. You know, are they expecting him to come in next year and do everything for them?
I am. I'm expecting him to do that.
Because they're really not setting themselves up well towards the end of the season. Like, they need to be getting these points.
Is that maybe? I think maybe they've stopped developing the cars. There's no way they're bringing upgrades like.
No, I don't. Yeah, I think they have
months ago.
Yeah, but I think that's very true. I suppose they probably just have their eyes set on 2026 at this point. Like, and
just can it.
They're just going with the motions at this rate. But like, why do that whenever you're getting the fastest times in Q1? Or not the fastest times, but you're up there, you're 3rd and 4th. Do you know what I mean?
You're going well. I don't know. But they do this a lot. You know, they're very inconsistent over the course of a weekend. Like, sometimes you will, like, see, like, Aston Martin and, like, Alonso will just put in a rogue, like, fastest lap in, like, Q1. And then he's, like, 7th by Q3. Where'd that pace go? So I don't know how they do it. Obviously, I know not everyone's pushing at the start of Q1, but it's like, our Aston Martin constantly just absolutely flat the tin.
Hammer in Q1 to get the best chance possible. Like, surely that's not possible.
But Alonso had a sort of strategy gamble, and his early pit stop didn't really work for him there.
No, it didn't. Sure didn't.
And ended up outside the points again. Disappointing from Fernando. Like, and then Stroll, he retired again.
I mean, I'm pretty sure he got taken out by Gabriel Bortoleto. So
I think you're right, didn't he?
Yeah, I don't think it was really his fault.
I know,
but Stroll, why are you there, man? You know what I mean? Putting yourself in these positions.
I know it's like chance, but it does happen a lot.
It does happen a lot.
You don't want to see it. You know what I mean? It's like, is it bad fortune, or is it just kind of like wrong place because you're not on the pace kind of thing? It's like, it was whenever Valtteri Bottas, but there was an incident whenever he was in Mercedes. Remember, it was like, oh, well, you shouldn't be fighting with George Russell at Imola because you're driving a Mercedes.
Yeah,
you know, like, should the Aston Martin really be further up where he's not getting knocked out by a kick?
Well, that's just it. He's in 12th. Do you know what I mean? He's opened himself for these opportunities, these midfields. You know what I mean? These things happen in the midfield all the time. That's why you want to start closer to the front to get yourself out of these. So I do think it's just a sort of being off the pace thing at the back of the grid. You're getting involved in these collisions, like, and again, it doesn't look good either way.
No,
so it doesn't.
They definitely hit some kind of plateau.
Yeah,
you know, nothing's really changed, and they do always struggle to break into like the points and stuff.
Yeah,
and
again,
it's just
like you
getting
said,
worse and worse and worse.
And I said they have these fastest lap, but then it just it comes out to nothing. So it doesn't. So again, they're not there. Like,
no, not a convincing weekend from Aston Martin. But then again, we haven't really had many convincing weekends from Aston Martin in the longest time.
No, since their podiums back in like 22, 23.
So
yeah,
rubbish.
And is that the first point I see scored for Alpine? Or no, sorry, that's Ocon I'm looking at.
That was Haas.
Yeah, that was Haas, sorry.
I was
having
Haas,
like a flashback moment there for Ocon driving for Alpine. But yeah, Gasly.
Speaking of Haas, is our next team. Haas. With a double points finish.
Double points finish.
Very good.
Midfield team. You cannot complain about that.
Haas are doing well.
They are doing well.
They do put out these like good performances. And it's nice to see. And
it's very nice to see. They've got a good platform. So
it's not a race you'd expect them to do well at, really.
No,
like Vegas.
It's not. It's one of those, like we're saying, it's one of those tricky tracks, hard to gather data. For midfield teams especially, you're going to be seeing them more at the bottom of the standings this time around.
But no, they're doing well.
They're doing very well. They're holding their own, like, with this new leadership, with their, what do you call him? That Japanese guy that's running them.
Oh, his name escapes me.
Yeah.
Ayo Komatsu.
Yeah. Seemed to be doing really well under his leadership. I think Gunter Steiner was a bit of a rogue cannon, like, wasn't he? Do you know what I mean? There was no real direction. It was sort of like,
Gunther Steiner's still pulling like absolutely like insane takes. He was like making a comment on the John Elkin thing there last week, saying that like, you know, you shouldn't be doing that. You know, and I'm like, Gunther, that was like your bread and butter.
Yeah, like, slagging everybody off. Do you know what I mean? That's what you thrived on.
But they done well today.
They done really well.
Double points is all you can really say. Again, not very eventful. Just kept their head down, ran the race. But Ollie Behrman's impressing me this year.
Ollie Behrman is very, very impressive.
He's good.
He's very, very good. These rookie drivers are really, really... They're doing well.
They're doing well.
They're doing well. Like,
shall we move on to Kick Cyber?
Kick Cyber, I believe that's Alpine and Kicks, our last two teams. Yes, Kick Cyber. Again, I'm noticing this trend with Kick Cyber. One person does bad, other person does good. Mm-hmm. It seems to be this like yo-yo effect. I don't know what it is. It seems like Hulkenberg finishes in the points, has a good race. Bortoleto down midfield or DNF. Then you've got Bortoleto doing good in the points, and Hulkenberg's nowhere. It's so strange.
They must like switch the really good mechanics with he had a bad race weekend last week. Give him Mark. He's really good at front wings. Over.
So I'm almost guaranteed in myself that there's going to be a Cyber doing well every weekend. Yeah, it's just which one. And it's sad to see Bortoleto's double stinker. You know, this is not what we wanted off the back of Brazil for him.
The first corner, man. The first corner crash was just not it. It was. What it must surely it was the result of that slippery cold tires. Is that his first time? Because he's a rookie. That's his first time racing Las Vegas. I don't think he anticipated just the lack of grip,
how slippery that track was going to be. Because it wasn't even. I don't even think he locked. There was no smoke, so he just
drove into him.
Glided along the floor, and he was a passenger at that point. And so, you know what I mean. You bet hard,
You just kind of go, right, I fucked it here.
Yeah, and that's it. So he had sort of ruined his race straight off the bat.
But Hulkenberg did have a good race.
Had a good race.
And, you know, getting points. It's good to see Sauber getting points because for the longest time, like, they've kind of been the laughing stock of the grid.
Even whenever they were Alfa Romeo, they were terrible.
Just not getting points, not doing this, not doing that. And it's nice to see them building that momentum towards the end of the season, going in the Audi. Like, it's going to give the team a nice boost going into 26. And it'll be nice to see... It'll be nice to see the Audi on the grid with a team with good morale, you know, coming off the back of some good finishes. I think it's good for them, even though they did have Bortoleto not finishing the race.
Yeah,
Hulkenberg scoring points, I think, almost outweighs it because at least somebody was there. You know, they've had a podium this season, and they're scoring good points. So I'm happy for them. I like what they're doing.
Yeah, like Bortoleto's got 19 points this season. And Hulkenberg's got 49.
That's good.
Like that is good. Really good. You know what I mean?
You know who doesn't have those kind of points?
Who?
It's our next team, Alpine. I will say one thing though, Gasly getting pumped at the start, span at the first corner.
Yep.
To come back and finish just outside the points wasn't too bad. That was pretty good, considering the pace of that car.
That's true. That car is absolutely nowhere this year.
Obviously, he didn't get the points, but to sort of like be thereabouts, you know, fair enough.
Yeah.
But Colapinto, again, I just don't think he's that good. I'm sorry. I just don't think he's that good.
It was almost just like, we have to sign him. We fired the other guy. If we fire this guy, we're going to have to look for another guy.
Yeah.
And it's like we'll give him another. He's not terrible.
He's not terrible.
He's not crashing the car every week like Mazepin was and Latifi was and Mick Schumacher was.
He's not a pay driver.
No. Do you know what I mean? There's something there, but it's not enough. Like,
he's just not convinced me. No. Of all the rookies, I think he might be the weakest.
Yeah.
And
him or Lawson, but Lawson's got pace. He's just like we were saying. He's just too reckless. Yeah. Sometimes too, fidgety, agitating.
Alpine and Colapinto partnership is just bad.
Yeah, they're like the new Alpha.
They kind of are, and I think he was the only driver to get lapped. I think he was the only driver that finished a lap down. So like he was remarkably off the pace.
Yeah, two drivers get lapped, Colapinto and Lawson. So Lawson just must have got lapped in the end there. But fair. Yeah, again,
like it's just not good. It's just not good. And I don't know what they're going to do next year. Like I need to I want to hope that they'll be boosted by the Mercedes engine, because again, there's rumors that the Mercedes engine is the strongest and it's the fastest, but it's all conjecture. I don't even know if I don't know if there's any real data. You know what F1's like, it's just rumors constantly. So they might bring it out. It might be like a Civic VTEC type thing. It'd just be absolutely terrible.
2 litre Eco Blue Ford wet built.
Get wet built in it too,
Yeah, literally.
But Alpine had a bad weekend.
Not a great weekend.
But I feel that's a consistent theme.
It's
more often than it's not.
Yeah, throughout this entire year. I think they just need to get it over with this season and try and build from 26.
Yeah, the only thing they can take from this weekend is that at least Gasly showed some kind of resilience. He spun and he got the car back up there. So that's a positive. But that's a Gasly positive. That's not the team positive. That's not a team positive. But the team can use that.
I think Gasly deserves more. Alpine were never this bad.
No, they weren't.
They were never this bad. They were like a good sort of midfield team.
They were okay.
Do you know what I mean?
They were okay. So I don't know what's happened.
Where this has came from.
But
they've just lost their direction. It's almost like Alonso was holding them together while he was there.
Yeah,
I don't just, you know what I mean. One of like a mini Max Verstappen moment. His driving's just so good that like he's just able to get points for them. I don't know, but yeah, Alpine, not much to say. They're sort of a bit of a gust in the wind this year.
Yeah, they probably have already forgotten about this season.
Most of this season, because
the guys at Ensign probably just down in Bordeaux every week now just to get through it.
I forgot everything about them this season.
Yeah, I just have no hope for them, which is a shame because I like them. I have a soft spot for like the old Renault team. It was like one of my first favourite teams in F1 whenever Fernando Alonso was driving for them all those years ago. But watching them now, I'm like, what is the crack here, lads? It's really, really quite bad. But that concludes the rundown.
That's all of our teams.
I do have one more thing to talk about.
Yes. Any highlights from the race? Any standout moments for yourself?
Standout moment, at least for a bad reason, was the safety car first.
Was that at the start of the race? What
you're
talking
coming into T1, remember? There was 5 or 6 marshals
running across the track, and the cars were... Like, you know what I mean? All it took was for somebody to drive in the back of one of them and just barrel straight down that runoff area.
And it's not out of the question.
It's not.
It's not.
We've seen it happen before.
That is like a bowling ball in the air. You know, that is like...
They learned nothing from Brazil.
This seems like a very common thing. This kind of like waiting to bring out either a safety car or virtual safety car.
This anticipating.
I know.
Get it done with.
Get it done with. There's stuff on the track. Get the safety car out or get the virtual safety car, or double wave gels and get it cleared, because they were like halfway around the lap by the time they put it out, and then as you said, they were coming to the T1 and there was boys still on the track. It's like, what are we doing here? Like, we learn nothing from like things like Bianchi and all this. It's like some of the safety stuff is still as bad as it was. Obviously it's not as bad as that anymore, but it's like we get an incident like this every 3 to 4 months, and it's talked about, and then it's forgotten about. It's just chucked under the rug.
Yeah,
and no one cares about it.
No one cares about it anymore, and it's gonna get like that until somebody gets hurt again. And it's like, especially with this Halo being introduced and how safe F1 has been on that side, you know what I mean? Like the amount of potential deaths that we've had, Guan Yu Zhou, Lewis Hamilton, Charles Leclerc in Belgium, do you know what I mean?
It's all gone down.
You know what I mean? If the Halo wasn't there, these are potentially fatal accidents. 100%. So without the Halo, it's like they've almost like got this little safety buffer, this confidence where they're like, oh, F1's so safe now, do you know what I mean?
It's only safe up until the point where you usually say something
happens. Exactly, do you know what I mean? And it's about preventing that.
Yeah.
And they're not taking the correct steps to prevent that.
Yeah.
And it happens, like I said, once every 3 to 4 months we get something like that, and we've just literally had it
happen again.
Back to back.
Yeah. And obviously nothing happened, but we were lucky nothing happened. And again, it's the kind of there is that illusion of safety, I think, in Formula One still.
Yeah,
because with the Guan Yu Zhou thing, it's like, the Halo's so safe, look how great it is. And it is great. Like I'm not gonna sit here and say it's rubbish or be one of these guys. It's like, oh, I don't like the look of it. Like, come on, it doesn't really matter.
Everybody's got over it now.
Yeah. But when Zhou had that crash in Silverstone, well, the roll hoop failed, and it's like, well, when was the last time that happened? So
Yeah, you know
like
what I mean.
it's just this kind of illusion of safety. Yes, the halo saving, but you could there was the helmet
like
was
that,
scuffed.
yeah, like it was.
So they had to
whole
redesign the
top-
roll hit.
Yeah, the whole top part of the car broke off, so it did. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
That should have been scraping along the ground. It snapped off, and
Yeah.
it was the halo and his head
Helmet.
touching the ground. Like,
He, anything could happen to the point where that could have caused a really serious neck injury. But
Yeah.
I think F1 still has a long way to go until
Yeah.
it's as safe as they probably want it
but
to be.
again, how safe do you make these cars? Do you know
No,
what I mean?
that is true. Motorsport is incredibly dangerous, but
yeah.
it's kind of these silly operational feelings,
exactly.
like the virtual safety cars and not calling the flags at the right time and letting debris, like on the back straight.
Having marshals waving double yellows on the left hand
Yeah.
side of the track, and you have 6 boys
Yeah.
running across it.
And on the back straight, they left that was it an M plate all the way down the back straight. That means you really couldn't overtake. And they left that there for like a lap or so, and it's kind of just like, well, why are we not on the ball more with like debris
Yeah,
and stuff
these
like
things,
it's really really frustrating to see, and it does happen more often than not. Do you have any specific?
I think we've got it all. Yeah, I think we've got it all, man. Just looking here.
Should we do some predictions for Qatar
Yes,
then?
we will do some predictions for Qatar.
I don't even know what to predict anymore after that this weekend. That was
How can you predict it?
I was never going to predict the double DSQ from McLaren.
No.
Absolutely not.
No, and then you like, oh well, I'll predict a double DSQ next week.
I'm
Never
going to
gonna
predict
happen.
a double Ferrari DSQ next week. That'll be.
Don't, because that will happen.
No, it won't happen if I don't wear my Ferrari t-shirt. Bad stuff only happens if I wear my Ferrari t-shirt.
That's true.
That is
Every time
true.
you have your Ferrari t-shirt on, something bad happens.
That's why I stopped wearing it.
That's why I bought a Mercedes t-shirt. Maybe something bad will happen to.
Not in this house.
But yeah, I'm gonna go out there. First thing I'm gonna say is Max Verstappen wins the sprint.
I'm gonna agree.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think he's gonna come in swinging.
Yep.
I also do just have faith in Red Bull's aerodynamic efficiency. I think
Around Qatar.
yeah, just that car, like the car's built for downforce. I think they're going to have a very, very good weekend in Qatar.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to say Max for the sprint. I think Lando's going to bounce back. I don't think he's going to be too affected by what happened in Vegas. I think he's just going to take it and be like, I was out of my control. I need to move on. Not a big deal.
Mm-hmm. Depends how pacey they can make that car, though, McLaren.
That is true.
Do you know what I mean? McLaren are going to be a little bit on edge with setup now.
But I think they'll be fine. I think they just ran it too low and they didn't need to. I think the pace was there whether or not that car was illegal or not. So I think it's going to be Verstappen for the sprint, Norris second, Russell third. But I think Norris is going to win the Grand Prix, and I think Max will be second. Max will be second.
Yeah.
And I think George will still be third. I think they're going to have a good weekend. So I think it's going to be a very tight but quite similar top three over the course of the race.
Well, mine
and the
was
sprint.
going to be a Red Bull, a McLaren, and a Mercedes. So not to copy you, I'm going to go Max, Lando, and then Kimi for the sprint.
Okay.
For the race, I think George might be up there for contention, to be honest.
Does nothing, gets podium.
Does nothing, gets podium.
Could do.
So honestly, I'm thinking Max wins the race again.
I can't.
I'm thinking Max again, and I'm thinking maybe Russell second, and then Lando.
I think Lando's gonna fall down a wee bit.
Maybe. Russell had the pace to keep him behind once he got in front. If Lando does something like that again,
yeah, Lando's gonna have to be very cautious now.
there's no saying that it can happen. I know Lando sort of got him at the end of the race, so he did, but
that's only because I think George had an issue, right? He had that steering thing.
yeah, I think so. So you know what I mean.
So it's going to be interesting.
It will be interesting.
But I think that pretty much wraps it up then.
Yeah.
So that is the 2025 Vegas Grand Prix. If you liked what you heard, please subscribe and like and leave a comment and tell us everything that we got wrong, because
we don't want to hear it.
he doesn't want to hear it.
I don't want to hear it.
But yeah, we will
Thank
see
you very much, guys.
in Qatar. Not
Yes.
actually in Qatar, but we will see you after Qatar.
All right, guys. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.